Hey, it's 6 o'clock. Right, we're ready to go. Okay. Welcome everyone to the February 2nd Committee of Council meeting. Tonight we have a Committee of Council meeting, and we also directly after it we have a special budget meeting following this meeting. So before we start, I'd like to, in the spirit of reconciliation, I'd like to acknowledge that the land upon which we gather is unceded Mi'kmaq territory, Epawik, Prince Edward Island. Mi'kmaq is covered by the historic treaties of peace and friendship. We pay our respect to the indigenous Mi'kmaq people who have occupied this island for 12,000 years, past, present, and future. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda. The motion is that the agenda be approved as presented. Okay, and moved by Councilor McFarland, second by Councilor Spin. And any additions or I have one addition. Sorry, John. That was my. Okay, so on January 28th, we received the request for decision from Joe Donahoe. Joe says he's a taxpayer and he missed the deadline for the COC. But he's talking, as I think most of us are aware, for seasonal residents and the double taxation. So I need consensus either to put this on or not put it on. It concerns double taxation of non-residents properties. So I need to go around and, okay, Wayne, do you want it on or not? Yeah, you are.
He's a taxpayer, and I think he has all right to be added on, and,
He's a taxpayer, he's not a non-resident.
yeah.
Okay. John?
Thank you, Your Worship. I understand this is the same request that we've dealt with many times in the past. There's no changes to it. We've dealt with it many other times. I'm not in favor of reading it again.
Okay, so that's a no. Okay, so we have 1 and 1 here. Okay, Ann, you're a no?
Yeah, you can put it on, but you know where I stand when the vote comes.
Okay, do you want to, okay, so that's a yes to put it on? Sure. Okay. Deputy Mayor?
So he's requesting for us to eliminate that tax rate. Is that the request? Yeah, that's what.
I can read the
I'm
request.
kind of reading it here. I'm just not.
Please use sound judgment, not status quo bias to make decisions, is what I have here.
Intrude upon taxpayers. Yeah, I'm reading it too. I just.
Yeah.
And then we have no staff comments. I mean, to me, this may be to be added to our conversation when we decide to set tax rates in our budget this year, is where I think if we want to discuss this, that's where we're going to make that decision.
Okay,
Right.
maybe before we go any further, we do have some, I think, your staff comments. The CAO can provide some comments here if you want to, yeah.
Yeah, I was asked by one of our councilors this afternoon to look at municipal tax rates in other communities. So Charlottetown, the tax rate for residents is 0.67, non-resident $1.33. Summerside 0.74, non-resident $1.48. Stratford 0.49, non-resident 0.98. Cornwall 0.46, non-resident $1. Three Rivers, and I just used Montague because we have several tax areas, 0.60 and $1.12. So basically all the major municipalities on PEI are in alignment with our tax rates.
Okay, I should have asked John to read that first, sorry. Okay, Deputy Mayor?
Sure.
Put it on for consideration? Are we putting it on, is the decision to put it on this, it's a request for decision, so it'd have to go on tonight, yeah. Okay? You're a yes?
I'll vote yes, but if we have deadlines, if we say yes this time, we'll be saying yes to the next one. So,
Yeah,
majority
fair-
rules here, I guess.
Yeah, fair point. Okay. Okay, so we'll add it to the agenda, so it can be added under, what's our last one, 7.6?
7.6.
Okay. Is that- Okay, so with the addition of 7.6, I'll ask for an approval of the agenda as presented now. Okay, so moved. Councillor Spin and Councillor Van Donkersgoed, all in favor? Okay, so we have some minutes to do, the adoption of some minutes here. Oh, conflict of interest, yes. Do we have anybody wish to disclose any conflict of interest on any of the items on tonight's, agenda? Okay, none? Okay, so now we'll move on to adoption of the minutes. So adoption of the November 12th, the 24th, 2025 Committee of Council minutes. Need a mover and a seconder? Okay, I'm sorry, Cody and Martina. Okay, all in favor of adopting those minutes as presented, or is there any, I should ask if there's any comments or anything on the minutes before we proceed? No? Okay, all in favor? Okay, the next is the adoption of the January 8th, 2026 Special Council meeting. Need a mover and a seconder for those minutes? Okay, okay. Ann and Cindy, okay, any comments on those minutes? No, okay, all in favor of those minutes as presented? Okay, and we have, January 12th, special council meeting, which was a public budget meeting, so I need a mover and a seconder to accept those minutes. Moved by Councillor Van Donkersgoed, second by. Okay, Wayne, Councillor Spin, any comments on those? Okay, if not, we will, all in favor? Okay. And our next is presentations and delegations. We do have some speakers tonight. So before we begin, we'd like to highlight the purpose of our meetings. We strive to uphold the values of Three Rivers, community innovation and inclusivity. We have a special town and the planning board and council is committed to contributing to sustainable growth and development. I got Ann's instead of mine. Anyway, we'll start again, wrong thing. But we strive to uphold the values of Three Rivers, community innovation and inclusion. We have a special town and council is committed to contributing to sustainable growth. Council meetings are essential to our governance process, providing transparency in decision-making. Elected officials discuss finances, events, town maintenance, design, and bylaws, then vote on proposals. As mayor, I lead the council and break ties if needed. Residents are encouraged to attend and participate, ensuring everyone can be part of the governance process. We value your input and aim to maintain a respectful and professional environment. Personal attacks and disruptions won't be tolerated. Let's make these meetings a reflection of our pride in Three Rivers. So the meeting, and we do allow for 5 minutes for presenters. So thank you for your respect and participation. I should also mention that unauthorized recording, photographing, or broadcasting of these proceedings is not permitted without the consent of council or the CAO. So we have some speakers for tonight. For the COC, we have Eddie McCauley, and Eddie just wants to talk about a dog park. So, former mayor, Ed, would you like to come to the podium? Long time since we've seen you here.
Yeah.
Welcome back.
It's nice for sure. Well, your
No.
worship and council members and staff. Oh, that's better.
Yeah.
I come tonight just to, first of all, say you're doing a great job. I mean, I know you don't hear that very often, but I believe you are, and the productivity and the growth in Three Rivers is very visible to me. So, but I'm here to talk about dog parks, and last year, this past year, 2025, I was ill and I wasn't very mobile, but 2024, Linda and I went across Canada and we drove our car and 2 dogs and we went to a lot of small towns and cities, and there was a dog park in every one of them, and they were being quite used, you know, and it came to my attention that we don't have one and we need one. And so when I come back, I guess when I found out I had cancer, it got more reinforced. So the points I'd like to make tonight are this. Trails across Canada, small towns, larger centres, always dog parks nearby. There needs one in our area for people visiting from other parts of the country, traveling with their pets and their precious pets. And the closest presently is Murray Harbour or Stratford, which are both 25 kilometres plus away. People traveling usually search their phones to find the nearest dog park. So, you know, the town office may not get calls about where the dog parks are, you know, so I just wanted to make you aware of that. We just used our phone to find out nearby dog parks. We'd always find one within probably 7-10 kilometers. People, you know, we know we've all have lost, well, we haven't all lost pets, but I've lost a couple of pets on the highway just because there was no place for them to really run, and they get a little curious and want to get away every once in a while. And dogs need a place to run without restrictions for their health and for exercise, for socialization, and so on. And also, people with issues of aging, ability, and health issues, which I experience, people want an area for their dogs to run. Not everyone is able to walk their dogs. I mean, I was doing that religiously with my dogs until I got ill. And after that, I wasn't able to do that. So now I go find a place where there's not too much or any traffic and let them run like crazy if I can. But still, it's not the ideal spot, you know. You still know that people probably are going to come along and be kind of curious what's going on, why you're running, why you're driving, letting your dogs run free. And, you know, I know municipality has a lease law and are supposed to abide by it. I'd like to abide by it. But at the same time, you know, we need a place for the dogs to run and be free and to be safe. Let's see, do I have anything else on here? The Provincial Dog Act's coming into effect. I don't know when, but there's discussion about it, and so I don't know what will happen after that. So I think it's time that we had at least one dog park in Three Rivers, if not 2, you know, but we'll start with one. They're not, you know, they're not really hard to build. They're very easy to build with the proper facility, proper land. And, you know, I think for the most part, people, you know, they take good care of their dog park. They clean up after themselves, and if the proper poop bags and the trash cans there, then I'm sure everyone will use it. So that's pretty well my presentation this evening. And I'd like for Three Rivers to consider that for this year. It'd be nice to have, and I know I would appreciate it. Anyway, thank you.
Okay.
Any questions? I can.
Yep, any questions for Ed? Go ahead, Wayne.
Ed, great to see you, my friend. How were the other parks throughout the countryside?
They were really good, Wayne. You know, a lot of them were well, you know, like they had everything there. And there's usually people there. We got to know people on our way out, and we met the same people a couple of places on the way back. So it's, you know, it's good for people too.
Yeah, but
you know,
was it like maintained? Like,
oh yeah, it was maintained. I mean, we were there in the summer and fall, kind of like, you know, late summer, early fall. So there was no snow to deal with. So I'm not sure what we do with the snow season, but if we got an area that, you know, is well sheltered, it shouldn't be too bad to keep open and, you know, as much as possible. If it's not possible, that's understandable.
See, that's my $1 million question.
Well,
is
it
who's
is a
gonna
question.
maintain it?
Yeah, it's a question. And this winter's been a little more difficult than the last couple of winters, but last year would have been a winter, dog park would have been fine.
Yeah, that's just my big concern is.
Yeah, no, I understand that,
Right.
sure. Anything else?
Alan?
Thanks for the presentation, Ed. You said 1, maybe 2. Where do you see those?
Well, fairly central, I think,
Yeah.
Alan. I'd like to see one in Cardigan because it is fairly central. And, you know, maybe someplace in the Monaco area, you know, or closer to this end. you know, of Three Rivers, but Georgetown, you know, is another possibility. I think, again, I'm not sure if there's a lot of dogs in Georgetown. That's the other thing, my dogs and I drive around looking for dogs, right? They get really excited when they see dogs. So I see more dogs walking in Montague than Georgetown.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Martina, go ahead.
Well, thank you, Eddie. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, I had an Airbnb for 10 years, and we were dog friendly. And every time they came, they would very often, the first thing is, where's a dog park? Where's a dog park? So it's a very much a tourist thing.
Yes.
And so many people adore their dogs, myself included. And so I often, and just like you, I'll park in an open space and let them run, but feel like I'm trespassing.
Yeah.
And then you're very conscious, like if they do their business, or like in case someone's watching. But in a dog park,
Yeah.
you have that I think it's long overdue. I've mentioned it before at Three Rivers Council, and I'm really glad you're here to speak for that.
Okay,
Yeah.
good, thank you. Yeah, it's good to hear.
Yeah, I've had residents in Montague too, a number of residents for years wanting a dog park, and I think the time has come, so
Yeah.
no opposition from me on it. Okay, I see there's a budget submission, so we're gonna
Thank
deal
you
with
very
that at
much.
the next
I'm
one.
not gonna stay, folks. I'd like to
No.
stay, but I got to see if I can get in my driveway. Okay.
You know,
so,
no, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, and great to see you. Okay, our next presenter is Charlie Hicken, and he wants to talk about Thursday night's planning board meeting. You want to come to the podium, Charlie?
I had planned on speaking about non-resident taxation at the budget meeting following this. But seeing that you're going to be discussing that at this meeting, with your permission, I'd like to make that presentation now. And the one that I had planned for this meeting, I'll make next week at the regular council meeting. Is that possible?
Yeah, doesn't matter if you're, yeah, sure, if you want to change your topic, that's fine.
Thank you.
So so we're talking about just non-residents now?
Yes.
Sorry, you want to put the, start it over again, yeah. You want to talk, so what about Thursday night's planning board? You were going to talk about it at Thursday night?
I'll speak to that next week at regular
Next week,
council meeting.
okay, sorry, I missed that, yep.
Good evening, Charlie Hicken. My topic this evening is revenue generation and the fairness of the same. Just up the street at 228 Queens Road, PID number 819755. The corporation that owns this property pays no tax on this residence. Also, just happens to be the mailing address for the infamous Hopetown Development Company, both of which have purported connections to the Bliss and Wisdom group of companies, who have been accused of illegal land transactions, money laundering, elite capture by a retired Solicitor General of Canada, an RCMP superintendent, and a director of CCs. These are also presently under investigation by the National Division of the RCMP.
Point of order, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I've just one
Yeah, now-
second and I'll get to the,
Yeah,
I don't wanna, I believe in free speech and talking, but you asked to talk about revenue generation on, kind of reference non-residential taxes.
yeah,
And right now you're talking about an organization, and while you're saying things I've heard, they're not maybe factually proven yet, especially in a court of law.
I understand that.
yeah.
You can write your,
I'm going to tie the two of them together in the next sentence if I can.
but how does that tie with revenue generation?
Uh,
You're making that complete.
by properties that are not,
Your topic, and
by properties that are not paying taxation.
Charlie, just a point from me as well. I've said a couple of times when people come to the podium, I want them to speak about facts. Now, there is different investigations going on about the groups that you've mentioned, But until those are facts, I'd rather, I don't like them to be brought up here because it's all hearsay so far. Until those investigations are finished, I think we've heard enough of it at the podium. So if you want to continue with the revenue generation part, that's fine.
Yet somehow they avoid paying taxes on these residents. I wonder how many other situations like this exist in Three Rivers. On the other hand, there's an individual born and raised in Three Rivers, but who now lives off island for employment purposes, but with the intention to make this their permanent residence in the future. They acquired a piece of land, had a house built on it by local contractors using local material. They did not have building material shipped in a container from a foreign country.
That's, Charlie, that is all not proven and being investigated. So can we just stick to your revenue generation, please?
They did not use foreign. Ongoing maintenance and upkeep is done by local people. Because they are considered non-residents, the province charges them 33% surcharge on the property taxes, and Three Rivers charges them double taxes. They are also charged double taxes on the recreation tax, resulting in them paying 12 cents per $100 versus 6 cents for residents. They are normally here for 3 to 4 weeks each summer and have little time to use these recreational facilities, although they are available for them to use. Waste Watch prorates non-residents and charges them less because they are not here year-round. If the recreation tax was prorated for non-residents, they would end up paying less than the year-round residents, but I'm not suggesting that. All I'm suggesting is that they should not be paying double taxes for the recreation tax. I am only asking for fairness and hoping you will take some time and consider my suggestion. Now, I have some material here about the residents up the road that I mentioned that are not paying taxes. I'll give that information to the CAO so he can follow up on that. Thank you. Is there any questions?
Anybody have any questions for Charlie? Yeah, go ahead.
Thanks. It is on our agenda tonight again. We set our tax rates every year. I've heard the concerns about the double tax on the tax. The fire dues is another one they bring up when they talk about this. And so you mentioned revenue generation. So if we go through and we eliminate this double tax, I'm not sure of the numbers. I know I heard them before. I could probably find them. But so revenue generation, so the revenue generation you brought up was the people that are not paying taxes now, that you say aren't paying taxes, make sure that they pay their taxes, and that will make up the shortfall of getting rid of the double seasonal tax?
And I'm only suggesting getting rid of it on the recreation tax, not the other.
Just that part of it. I don't know if we're broke down like that to the government's the problem, but, okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay, I think that's the end of our presentations. We don't have any reports tonight, right? Okay, so we're on to the request for decision. The first one is 7.1 on page 11. And that's the COVID vaccination policy. And I think Danielle's going to talk about that. We'll turn that over to Danielle.
Thank you, Your Worship. The town's existing mandatory COVID-19 vaccination policy, policy number TRHR-22, revised April 11th, 2023, and the drafted COVID-19 vaccination policy represent two distinct approaches to workplace health management. The 2023 version reflects a period when COVID-19 posed heightened transmission risks, and mandatory vaccination was a provincially endorsed public health strategy. The 2026 draft reflects a transition to a broader risk-based approach aligned with current public health guidance. The 2023 policy mandated that all town employees be fully vaccinated, required proof of vaccination, and set out detailed procedures for ongoing disclosure and updates. In contrast, the 2026 draft strongly recommends COVID-19 vaccination based on public health guidance, but makes it clear that the vaccination is not a condition of employment. The town no longer requires employees to disclose vaccination status or provide proof of vaccination for general employment purposes. The updated policy reflects a responsible, modern approach to workplace health management and moves away from pandemic-specific directives and mandatory vaccination requirements and adopts a broader, more adaptable framework centered on public health guidance. Approval of the updated policy will ensure that the town's practices remain current, legally compliant, and consistent with provincial recommendations. The request is for the recommendation is for council to approve the updated COVID-19 vaccination policy as written.
Okay, any questions for Danielle? Go ahead, John.
No questions, just a statement that things have changed quite a bit since 2022, 2023, when COVID first came out, both provincially and federally. And I see this as moving along with the proper way to go, so I'm in favor of this.
Okay, we all in favor of moving this forward to the next council meeting? Okay, so move it forward. Okay, this 7.2 is respectful workplace policy, and I think Danielle is going to speak on this as well.
Thank you, Your Worship. The updated respectful workplace policy represents a natural evolution of the town's commitment to fairness, dignity, and safety in the workplace. As part of the 2-year review process, as noted in the current policy, the 2026 draft improves clarity, expands definitions, clarifies expectations of all parties, and modernizes the language to reflect best practices in respectful workplace management. The revisions strengthen the town's ability to prevent and address disrespectful behavior by ensuring employees understand their rights and responsibilities and by improving the transparency and consistency of reporting and investigative processes. The updated policy also better aligns with evolving legislative and human resource standards, offering enhanced guidance around confidentiality, retaliation, dispute resolution options, and the proper exercise of managerial authority. So the request is for council to approve the updated respectful workplace policy as written.
Okay, any questions for Danielle? No questions on the policy? Are we all in favor of moving this forward? Okay. So 7.3, we'll move on. Is design services for the utility building on page 24, utility building in Montague. And I'll ask Dorothy to speak to this.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Montague Sewer and Water Sewer Utility requires at the earliest a dedicated storage facility to improve operational efficiency, protect assets, and support future growth. This facility will provide secure storage for equipment, indoor bays for utility trucks, staff amenities, and space for testing. All of these items are critical for maintaining high service standards. A utility storage building will prevent weather damage and theft to equipment, reducing replacement costs, organize storage for tools, and ensures quick response for maintenance and emergencies. Vehicle bays will protect trucks, extend vehicle lifespan, and reduce maintenance costs. Provides flexibility for future growth, avoiding costly relocations, and provide a lunchroom, accessible washroom, and testing lab to improve workplace safety and productivity. Fee proposals were sought for architectural, civil, structural, mechanical, and electrical design development with permitting, tendering, and construction administration support, and the following were received. From Coles, $56,948 plus HST. From Archwork, $55,700 plus HST. References were sought from both architectural companies regarding current projects completed. The information obtained from their references are included for your review. Sewer Board has reviewed the proposals and references. Both firms have done wonderful work and received overwhelming praise from their clients. Sewer Board recommends awarding the project to the lowest bidder as all other factors were comparable. So the request is that the contract be awarded for design services in the amount of $55,700 plus HST to Archwork, funding to be sourced from the Montague Sewer and Water General Operations.
Okay, do we have questions for Dorothy on this? No questions?
Do you have a proposed location?
So 2 years when we were doing some additional work at the sewer plant, we contacted CBCL to tell them that in the future we were looking at a utility building. At that time, they did suggest a location. That's kind of what we're working for right now. But before we actually start the design, we'll consult CBCL one more time to make sure that the long-term is considered and it is the right location.
Okay.
Alan?
Have we had issues with theft?
There have been minor stuff. On occasion, it's because workers, other organizations may be working within the organization. The compound yard over at the utility building keeps things fairly safe, but in the maintenance building at the utility, they just don't have the ability to store too much stuff. So it makes it inconvenient more than anything for them currently.
I might add something that one of the important pieces around a utility building is the fact that we don't have dedicated washroom, lunch space, and lab. That's something that was identified in several reports and workplace safety, so those will be addressed with construction of the building.
Anybody else? Okay, are we ready to move this forward? Okay, move it forward to the next council meeting. So 7.4, which is application for MSC funding for the utility building. Dorothy, I'll let you speak to this.
Thank you, Your Worship. The municipal sewer utility requires a dedicated storage facility to improve operational efficiency, protect assets, and support future growth. This facility will provide secure storage for equipment, indoor bays for utility trucks, staff amenities, and space for testing, all items critical for maintaining high service standards and growth. The estimated cost of this expansion could be in the range of $400,000 to $550,000. Possible funding sources could be the municipal strategic component funding. The next application is due the third week of March. Eligible under wastewater infrastructure priorities. Utility or Town of Three Rivers could provide additional funding for the remaining balance financed by the utility or CBBF funding. MSC applications are scored on strategic merit, community impact, and readiness. This project will promote capital building and sustainable growth, enhanced operational capacity, future-proof infrastructure, workplace development, sustainability and asset management, and community resilience. If we were successful in receiving funding, the projected timeline would be that from January to February, we would estimate and make applications for funding. In April of 2026, hopefully secure funding and have motions for other funding options. April to June, we would begin and finalize a design and tender. By late fall, maybe begin construction, and by the summer of 2027, have operational in the facility. So the request is that the Town of Three Rivers apply for municipal strategic funding in the amount of $500,000 to construct a new sewer utility building in Montague to provide secure storage for equipment, indoor bays, for utility trucks, staff amenities, future growth, and space for testing. Additional funding needed will be sourced from CCBF and the Montague Sewer and Water Utility. One point that I didn't mention, the municipal strategic funding will usually only cover about 50% of the cost. So we would apply for $500,000, but we would certainly not get that amount.
Okay, questions on, Alan, go ahead.
So I'm just a little confused. It says possible funding sources, utility, and then / Town of Three Rivers. But in the request, it says additional funding would be sourced from CCBF and the Montague Sewer and Utility. I would like to see this be strictly utility and not the town that's on the hook for anything to do with the monies involved in this. as somebody who lives in Ward 1 where there's no water and sewer, this should be a utility funded 100% in my opinion.
Okay, we'll note that. I think the utility has funded most of the. Yeah, Dorothy,
But
go
like I
ahead.
say, it's not clear though, in this
Yeah,
application, it's written two different ways.
So the motion isn't clear, because it said could source from funding or CCBF. In order to make application, we need a motion that states that council is in favor of, making application for the funding. The CCBF funding, we do have a sewer expansion fund that could be tapped into, but the Montague Sewer and Utility is well aware that that might not be an option and that they would be willing to look at a loan for the balance of the money.
Yeah, it needs to come from the utilities. It's a user thing, so yeah, it's gotta come from the utility. I'm all in favor of the application, but end of the day, this is coming from the utility.
Okay, so that point is noted. Favor, any more questions? Okay, in favor of moving this ahead to make application? Okay, so 7.6 is solar.
7.5.
Oh, yeah, sorry. 7.5 is the solar panels for the Three Rivers Sportsplex, and Dorothy, I'll ask you to speak to that as well.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Town of Three Rivers has applied to the Community Renewable Energy Generation Fund to support the installation of a 120,000 kilowatt roof-mounted solar array at the Three Rivers Sportsplex. Funding has been approved. The Town of Three Rivers and the Board of the Three Rivers Sportsplex have worked diligently to upgrade the facility to ensure its long-term viability and is now prepared to take the next step toward reducing its carbon footprint. Significant reductions in electricity and oil consumption will be achieved through the installation of solar panels, the future addition of heat pumps, and other measures identified in a recent energy audit. The proposed solar installation is expected to generate the majority of the facility's annual energy needs. Any surplus energy will be credited through Maritime Electric's net metering program. The total cost of the project is $204,000 with an estimated payback period of 8 years. This initiative will reduce nearly 2 tons of carbon dioxide emissions annually, with typical solar PV systems operating effectively for 25 to 30 years. The Sportsplex is expected to realize well over a decade of net savings after payback is received. These long-term savings will directly support expanded community services, future capital upgrades, and the stabilization of user fees. The project aligns with municipal sustainability goals and positions Three Rivers Sportsplex as an example of efficient low-carbon recreational infrastructure. The following quotes were received: Hanson's at $177,350 plus HST, Sunley at $327,969 plus HST. So the request is to award the contract to Hanson's Electric in the amount of $177,350,000 plus HST, a total of $203,952.50, and that funding be sourced from the Community Renewable Energy Generation Fund and the Three Rivers Sportsplex.
The Hanson's quotes are different. One says 177,350. Okay, the request, so, and change the 602 to 350? Okay, everybody note that change? Okay, does that, I didn't do the math on the HST, does that make the HST right? Okay. Okay, so, any questions on this? It's nice to know that we can get solar panels, or that we're gonna have solar panels for our other rink.
I think it's great that we're looking into this and saving as much energy as we can. But I've noted on the Hanson's, the quote has expired in the 1st of January 2025. I guess they've renewed it since then, have they, Dorothy? Like, according to what we have here in the letter from Hanson's, quote expired January 1st, 2025, because this application was put in 2024, I believe. So we've been in contact since then to find out that this is the same quote.
Okay.
So I reached out to Hanson's and they guaranteed that amount is valid.
Thank you.
That's great. Okay, John?
Just, one thing, the majority of the annual usage? 70%? 60%? It says that the system will cover the majority of the annual electricity usage? Would that be roughly around 60%, 70%?
I don't have a percentage number for you. I do know that both companies came down and did a very detailed inspection of the ring to find out what the load would be. And they felt that it would, the panels that they were putting in more than look after and
Good. Good.
the need, yeah.
I'm all in favor of solar. Good, thank you.
Yeah, I think it's a significant difference between the two codes. Makes me a little nervous when you see such like a big difference. But I just had a question around the Renewable Energy Generation Fund and then the Three Rivers Sportsplex Fund, or, you know, they have their own bank account. What portion of this project will be covered by the Renewable Energy Fund?
The 5% of the HST is not covered under any funding programs, and so the Sportsplex would have to cover that.
Is that all? That's good.
Yep, it'll be about $9,000, but they'll also have to look after the structural engineering cost for the roof.
Okay, that's great. Fully support that.
Okay. Any more questions? Okay, move it ahead. Okay. Okay, and now we're on to 6.6, which is, 7.6, sorry, which is, the request from Joe Donahoe. Do we have it, the other, is there any more to this? Or-
It's everything I got. I can read it off if you want, or you can.
Well,
That's
the
everything we received.
well, I'll read it off. It says, on March 30th, 2022, the town introduced a double, since then,
Excuse me, Mayor?
yeah.
If it's, can you read it exactly the way it's written? Don't correct anything if
I'll
there's
ask
issues with
John
it.
to read it then, because I'm
I'll
having.
read it exactly the way it's written. On March 30, 2022, the town introduced a double, period. Since then, it appears
That's where I ran into the problem.
it looks like, I don't know, and goodwill for, quote, seasonal residents has declined. Please read report attached Eastern Ferry Service. And the request is, please use sound judgment, not, quote, status quo bias, quote, to make decision.
I'm sorry, can you start over and read that one more time for me, CAO, please?
On March 30th, 2022, the town introduced a double, period. Since then, it appears I can't make out it looks like fourth and goodwill for, quote, seasonal residents, unquote, has declined. Please read report attached Eastern Ferry Service. And the request, please use sound judgment, not status quo bias to make decision.
Yeah, so I guess, can I speak to that, Mayor?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, I guess I have no idea what that request is actually asking for, and I'm status quo on the taxation right now.
Okay, so you're not interested in moving it ahead. Ann, were you interested in moving that ahead?
No, I'm not interested in moving it ahead, and I would just like to reiterate what John said at the beginning of what the CEO said at the beginning of the meeting, that we are not alone in how we approach the non-residents, and our taxes is in line with the other municipalities in PEI.
Okay, thank you. John?
As I said at the beginning, I'm not in favor of this.
Okay.
We've dealt with this before, and CAO has presented tax rates across the island that are fully within similarity to ours, so I'm not.
Okay, thank you. Wayne?
Well, how does the man get answers if we don't address them?
I think we're answering them right
You
here
know.
and now. Yeah.
I mean,
So I guess I need what I'm asking is, Are you in favor of moving this ahead to the next council meeting for a vote?
I'll say yes.
Okay, we have 3 no's and 1 yes. Martina?
I would vote no. We've spent a lot of time and probably 20-plus emails that I've seen go back and forth on this topic. And if looking at the numbers that you've given us from the CAO, we have 4 other significant communities doing what we're doing. And it seems to be the status quo, so I'm with it.
Okay. Cindy?
I don't believe we should move it forward for the same reasons. We're following in line with the rest of the province. And I know poor Joe has been after us a lot of times, and he's made some comments through emails and different things. And like you say, there's been 20 some odd. But I do believe we should have, at least we heard him this evening and we've discussed it. So I don't believe we should move it forward. We should stick to what we're doing.
Okay, Deputy Mayor?
Yeah, we shouldn't move this forward. We technically review this every year when we do our budgets. We look at the tax rates every year. We've not changed this since we brought it in. It's like our CEO gave us examples. We're not the only municipality to do this. We're not the first municipality to do this. So no, we will discuss tax rates. So I mean, well, we don't move it forward to a vote. We are going to have a discussion on tax rates, but it's not going to be, I don't think, lowering them.
Okay, Wayne,
yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead.
I was gonna say, is there any way we can sit down and hear him out and let him hear us out? To the brass tacks of,
Martina next.
Yeah, Wayne, did you read the email exchanges that went back and forth and back and forth
Yes.
on this? There was a lot of hard, cold facts in those emails. Some of them that were, you can't argue with them as far as why this came into place in the first reason. So if you want to read those emails, that there's a good foundation for these decisions. So I thought they were informed facts. Yeah.
okay.
Alan?
Yeah, further to Councillor McDonald's comments, there's a difference between facts and opinions. And I think, Wayne, we have decided tonight that we listened to his, there was a vote here tonight on it. I think we have listened. I think this is the end of it for me here.
Yes, go ahead, Sia.
Somewhat related to this, the speaker, Mr. Hicken, earlier mentioned Hopetown Development not paying taxes. That's one thing that I'm going to explore further, because I'm not sure that there's anyone in our community that doesn't pay taxes. So that's something that we'll have to investigate and come back to council as we have our discussions on tax rates forward.
Yeah, that would be good. I'd welcome if you bring that back. And like I say, facts are always the best way to go. Okay, I'd like to call for an adjournment. Moved by Councilman Rowe, second by Deputy Mayor. Okay, do you want a 5-minute break or anything, or do you want to move on to the next